Gentleman Shenandoah.
Will the gentleman yield for a question?
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes.
Gentleman yields.
Mr. Speaker, I know that our president voted present many times in the Illinois legislature. I'm not sure what the equivalent of that is here, but I would ask the gentleman, I know that this amendment does not represent what he or I would consider perfect language, but is the gentleman telling the body that even if we can save one unborn child from being killed in the womb, that because this is not the perfect language he would like, that he is willing to not support this language, especially in light of the fact that this amendment also stops taxpayer resources from being used to achieve those ends? Is that what the gentleman is telling us, that he will not support the amendment?
No, the gentleman is reading into my statements, which I never intended. Mr. Speaker, in 2011, on Senate Bill 1366, introduced by the minority leader from Fairfax, this body accepted an amendment of mine, and the gentleman supported it, to disallow any funding of any abortion. That amendment passed this body with about 55 votes. The gentleman from Fairfax, the senator from Fairfax, declined to go on record. Now, had he had the votes to defeat my amendment, he would have voted it. He knew he's going to lose because nobody could get out of voting on that amendment on the other side, and there's a great effort here to avoid dealing with this issue. So, Mr. Speaker, I would challenge the gentleman or recall for him the statement in the New Testament, which Lincoln used in reference to, yes, slavery. But the point is this: it must needs be that evil will come in this world, but woe to those to whom it shall come. If you put your name on this amendment, you yourself are authorizing this fraud, because it is a fraud, and I'm telling you, any abortionist can abort any baby at any time with this pathetically drawn language. I have to be accountable to my conscience, not the gentleman's conscience. I have no way, I have no window to his soul. I don't impute his motives. I don't know them. I cannot, knowing that, I've spent my life on this. All 5 laws in Congress banning the use of abortion funding can be traced back to my intervention or my initiation. When I have an abortionist who presided at the killing of 60,000 children tell me that this is not necessary, that it's a fraud, I've got to pay attention to him. This is a deception on pro-life Virginians, and I am ashamed that this is being offered here. This is a political ploy to get people off the hook. We successfully ducked all these votes this year, even refusing to go on record on sex selection abortions, which the Democrats in Illinois were willing to outlaw. This is a fraud. I cannot be part of it.
Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman Shenandoah.
Would the gentleman yield for a further question?
Yes.
The gentleman yields.
Yes.
Gentleman yields.
Mr. Speaker, and I know where the gentleman is on this, which is why I was sort of, I understand what he has offered to us today in terms of an explanation. But if he truly believes that this amendment will not save one life, then I certainly understand that that is a valid argument. But if he believes it will save any lives, why then would the gentleman not try to attempt to do that?
Mr. Speaker, anybody here could go out in front of an abortion clinic and blow it up and probably slow down the number of abortions for a week. I'm not willing to use any means to achieve even a good end. We are circumscribed both by our moral law and our concept and a commitment to our Constitution to use only certain means to achieve the common good. Again, evil will come. Bob Marshall's not going to be responsible for this evil. I don't have to answer for that. That's my concern. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.